Welcome back, everybody. I've started a new coaching series, Coaching Entrepreneurs. I have with me John Laufenberger. John, first of all, thank you for coming. I would love it if you could introduce yourself, tell us what it is that you do, and why you agreed to come on to the show today to get coached by me.
I appreciate it, Mary. Thank you for the introduction. As you said, I'm John Laufenberger, and currently I'm doing sales. I'm in the automotive sales industry. I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. How I found Mary. So there's a coach that I already follow, Coach Michael Burt, and I always watch all of his YouTube videos. And his YouTube video that he posted was a interview with Mary, and I loved all the questions she asked. Her communication was just so amazing, and her energy was just like no other. So I was like, wow, I never heard of her. I had to look into it. I thought she was like this huge, like this coach that's been doing it for a while. I'm like, she's so good at what she does. And so I had to reach out to her. Just the way she communicated, the questions she asked. I'm like, dude, she's an expert in her field. So I had to reach out and introduce myself, network a little bit, and it's been amazing since then.
Oh, thank you, John. That is very generous, super generous words. I received that, and I'm super excited to dive into actually filming a coaching session with you today so that people can also see what it's like to be coached, what happens inside those sessions, what are some breakthroughs that people could have. And I am super excited to have the opportunity to do that with you today. So, are you ready?
I am ready. I really appreciate you having me on here. It's amazing. I'm super excited.
My pleasure, John. Okay, so, John, what brings you to coaching today?
For me personally, I used to have a drive, and I used to be able to kind of push through adversity and kind of set a goal and then go after it and achieve it. And lately, for the past few months, it's been like one of the first times in my life where I've had these goals and I've had adversity and I haven't been able to get through it. A lot of stuff going through family, like when I was younger, with a low income family and wanting to change my family's name and kind of be the person that changes the legacy. I've always had that chip on my shoulder where I wanted to be the best. And when
Mm.
you get into like the sales industry, you get into something, it's a whole different beast. It's a whole different beast of a game. It's mental, it's a lot of learning. It's like you got to be the best of the best to be able to produce the income. And this is the first time in my life where I've faced adversity and I've been going through these challenges. It's the first time where I have not gotten through the things I've been struggling with. And lately, I've kind of lost that drive. Like I used to be super passionate about sales. I used to be super passionate about being the best. And that all of a sudden, my fire's just been gone because of all the losses I've been taking. I haven't taken it in a good way. So I've lost that fire and I want to get that back. I want to get that competitive nature back.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So you've lost the drive that
Hmm.
you once had. Sounds like you're a winner and you love winning.
I do. I do. It hasn't felt like I've been winning lately. So
Okay, okay. So then if I could sort of wave my magic wand and you could walk away with something from today's session, right? One tangible thing that you could walk away with, what would that be?
my drive and my passion back. Like I want to be able to feel like that fire in me again. Like it just feels like it withered away, and that fire is what's been pushing me through my entire life, through everything. So to be able to get that back, to get the passion I have for whatever I'm doing, I want to get it back, and I want to be able to get my goals that I set beforehand.
Okay, okay, fair enough. And just out of curiosity, why is your passion and drive, why is that so meaningful to you? What's important about your passion?
It's what's gotten me through life. It's gotten me to where I am today. I feel like without it, the feeling of being without it these past few months, I feel like I have no purpose or I'm not doing anything meaningful. Everything I do is for a reason. It's for an impact, either on me, or for my family. It's for something. And so not having that, I haven't been able to get through the adversity. Where when I did have it, every goal that I set, it got me to where I am today because I didn't start at a good place in life. I had to push through a lot. And without that drive and that passion, I wouldn't be where I am today. I don't know where I would be. And it's scary to think about where could I be, you know? So without that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
So if we were to work together in the next hour and you would be able to find that passion and find that drive, what would be a success measure? Like, how would you know that you found your passion and your drive?
With everything you want in life, there's gonna be moments where you there's gonna be days where you get out of bed and you don't wanna do it. And
Mhm.
having that passion and drive and in you pushes you through those emotions where it doesn't matter how you're feeling. If you're waking up and your body hurts or your mind's not right, you push through it anyway because you know what has to be done. And for me personally, I haven't been feeling that. I've been listening to my emotions. I have been being complacent and stagnant, so I want to be able to push through and have a goal to set and go get no matter how I'm feeling. And if I can get that fire and drive again, there would be so many things I can accomplish that I haven't been accomplishing lately.
Right. And what's the opposite of what you've been feeling currently? Like passion and drive makes me feel like,
It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like I have a purpose. It makes me feel like I'm actually accomplishing something or I'm going for something. The times I don't feel like I'm going for something, that's when I get my lows, and so I just get really complacent, very down, very drained, very fatigued, and I'm just kind of going in the motions. Wherever the waves are taking me, I'm just letting them take me. I'm not even fighting anymore.
right. Okay. Okay. That's great. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, John. That's a really, really useful information. I'm really grateful that you feel comfortable to share this with me.
I
So then
appreciate it.
let's talk about your current situation. What can
Mhm.
you say about your current situation where you're not currently feeling that passion and that drive for life?
I think it's one of the biggest things lately has been like my purpose. So for me personally, like I've always loved like the idea of sales. When I found sales, like I was like, this is something I want to get into. I always wanted to help people, and so I didn't really know where to go from there. So sales was always a thing that I like looked into. I was like, I have a burning desire for it, and so for me, for my future, I just haven't been feeling that passion for like car sales anymore. So I'm trying to like decide like, is that what I want to do or is it not? And so just having those questions has been kind of burning me out a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think you mentioned that you've been in car sales now for a couple of years.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
And was there at any point a point in time where you actually did have a passion for selling vehicles?
I would say probably towards the beginning. I think it wasn't vehicles itself that was like pushing me and had that passion. I think it was just helping others. The moments that you get with those customers that, they had something happen, they got in a car wreck, or they're having another kid and their vehicle wasn't big enough for them. Those moments where like they're in a situation and they need to get out of it or improve their situation. Those
Mm.
were the moments that I lived for. And so for a while, that's why I was driven off of, and it kind of died off after a while because I didn't feel like I was helping a lot of people. Doesn't like there was some sales where it was very transactional, or it was very like this vehicle is more of a material to me. And I've been getting a lot more of that, and for me, it doesn't feel impactful in a way. And so that's kind of when the passion started dying because I used to have that passion, and the more I got into it, I realized that am I impacting as many people as I thought I was going to? And so that's kind of when I've been asking myself these questions.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you actually are driven by making a difference in people's lives.
Yes, very much so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then if you're not currently getting what you're looking for in your current position, then have you given thought to what you actually do want your future to look like?
I have, and I think that's what burns me out is because I have an idea. It's just I don't know how to get there, and that's where my drive has fallen off lately. Is I'm just so my head's so much in the future that I've just been burning myself out in the current situation because I'm like, I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to impact people. Then I ask myself these questions of like, how can I help people? How can I impact people? And when if I want to do that, like, how do I get there? Like, what do I have to do? Do I go to school? Do I, take courses? There's just so many questions I ask myself, and I'm like, I don't know how to get there. And so when I start asking myself those questions, I start burning myself out.
Right. So it sounds like maybe there needs to be a little bit more clarity around. exactly how you're going to help people and how you're going to
Hmm.
get.
Yes, yes, very much. Yes.
Okay, so let's go there. Let's go there. So in an ideal world, if we could envision what our life could look like 2 or 3 years down the line, what do
Mhm.
you see yourself doing? Who do you see yourself serving?
I think the people that went through what I went through, that went through the adversity of growing up in a low income family, just kind of being the person that was counted out. I would love to help the people that are struggling with school, with being bullied, because those are something that I faced and I got through. So I really have a big passion and drive for helping people that struggled what I struggled with, and I was
Mhm.
able to get through because I know how important it is to get through those things because I know there's a lot of people that don't. And so I would love to help people that are struggling with those kind of things of adversity, bullying, kind of being counted out, not knowing what they want to do with their life. I love to help like people that are going through all those things.
And how do you feel you could help them?
Just I guess going through kind of what I went through and how I was able to overcome it. Because I know there's a lot of people that I went through or similar to what I went through and
Mhm.
haven't been able to get through it. And those are what drives me to help those kind of people. So I would love to use my experience and the things that I went through to help other people. Use my story as an example of you can do things in this life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we often tend to want to always help the person that we once were.
Yes, 1,000%, 1,000%. I think everyone deserves a great life. Everyone has a big calling. They just need to
Mhm.
be shown it.
Oh, that's powerful. Yes, you're right. Okay, so then it sounds like you know what gives you drive and passion because I saw you
Mhm,
shift your energy when you were talking about trying to help people who you once were. So
mhm.
it sounds like you do have an idea of what does ignite that passion and what ignites that drive for you. So I guess what I'd like to understand is like what's keeping you currently from doing that?
I think just don't know what I want to do. So like for me, like I don't know. It's the clarity of how to get there.
Mhm,
For me personally, like it's like, do I go to school and like get a degree in a field that's super related to helping others, or do I go like the certification route? Like I guess I haven't really gotten clarity of what to do, and that's what burns me out in my drive. Because right now I feel like I'm not doing anything to impact lives. But now
mhm,
I'm also questioning, I'm like, so how do I get there though? Like what kind of field should do I do coaching? Do I become a counselor? Do I start a nonprofit? And so those questions I've been asking myself have been kind of holding me back because I'm a person that needs to have a plan to be able to take action. And
mhm.
so and thinking about lately not having a plan, it's been burning me out because I have to have that plan to take action. And so my passion's just withering away. And all these questions I'm asking myself, it's like, I don't know what to do, you know? So I've kind of been confused.
And John, if you're comfortable sharing with our audience, how old are you currently?
I just turned 21 a couple weeks ago.
You just turned 21. So you
Yeah.
are at the beginning of your journey. Yes?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. And I found with previous clients that what helps gain clarity over what it is that we want to achieve or create or become in life is exposure to different things. Because at a
Hmm.
young age, we tend to not know there are so many options and paths in front of us, and we get a little confused around like which one would be the best one for us to take. Sometimes the best way is to experiment, to try things out based
Right.
on your interests, what you enjoy doing, what value you feel you can bring and to who. So I guess I would invite you to think about like what is like one thing that you can do that can help build a bit of awareness or clarity around how to get one step closer to figuring it out.
That's a good question. This is the first time where I don't know what that next step is. I think that's what I've been trying to figure out is what do I do? You know, do I change my current job situation? or what, that's been the number one thing, is that next step. This is the first time where I don't know where to go. How do I get to that next step? And so it just gives me such a weird feeling in my chest where I don't know what to do, because every time I've had adversity or I've had a goal, I've been able to figure it out. And this is the first time in my life where I haven't. Probably won't be the only time either, but this is the first time where it's like I'm stuck.
Yeah. And I guess I'm wondering, like, have you tried anything in terms of trying to figure it out, in terms of kind of gaining some awareness over the things that you're not so certain about? Like, has meditation, has there been anything that you've tried so far that has or maybe hasn't worked?
Like, to try to get to that next step or try to figure out what that next step is.
Yeah, and really
Yeah.
try to figure out like what is it that you really want.
Yeah, I kind of like look at myself and see the things I went through. What am I good at? What drives that passion? And I figured out that it is helping people, and it's like that's what I do want to do. And so for me personally, it's just been looking at myself, see what I can do. And so trying to figure out that next step is just something that I've just been so stuck on. I haven't taken action on, and so I kind of know what I want to do, but I just don't know how to, take that next step towards towards the path.
Mhm. And then when you say next step, what does next step look like? Like, what does that look like? If you had a next step, what would it look like?
I think just getting started. I think
Okay.
getting started, just taking that step forward towards what I want to do. I think that's what the next step would be, is just getting started, taking the action.
Okay. And if I'm hearing correctly, the issue is like not having yet taken that next step, and also perhaps not knowing which step that would be in terms of which
Mhm.
way you wanna go. Do you want to be a coach? Do you want to be, be a counselor? Like, you're not
Mhm.
sure about the profession and how to get there?
Yes. Yep. I'm not too sure like what I want to do. Like for me personally, like I would love to be a coach. But for me, like it's like that next step. I don't know when to take that next step or how to take that next step. With my age, like I know being young, I still have a lot of life experience to learn and to go through. So it's that my age is something that's kind of holding me back as well. Also because I struggle with a lot of things. And so for me personally, I want to make sure that I want to get better before I can help other people. I feel like I'll be more qualified or I'll have more credibility. And
Mm,
so it's like, when do I take that next step and how do I take it is
mm,
where I'm at, like what to do.
right. Yeah. And I guess I'm here to challenge you, right? As a coach, we also
Hmm.
challenge our clients because we want them to think outside of their current paradigms. So I heard you mention that your age could be something that's going against you because you're young and perhaps don't have the experience, the life experience. But
Right.
what if the people that you want to coach are actually within your age group and connect better with you because you're of that generation? Could that be a possibility?
It could be. It's definitely something I have thought about and someone has mentioned to me. Um, and it's definitely a possibility as well. I just don't know when to take that step, or if I am ready to take that step. Just overthinking that whole thing is my biggest struggle. I just don't know if I take that next step or how to do it. Am I qualified to help other people, especially my age? Like I just want to make sure that I do have credibility and I do have enough experience to be able to help those people that are my age.
And what if your life experience, everything that's happened in your life up until now, is the credibility and is the life experience? What if
If it
you're,
is, yeah,
yeah.
if it is, then I would do it 1,000%. I guess I just question myself too much.
So then who decides if it is or if it isn't? Who decides?
Myself.
Okay. Okay. So you decide.
Right.
Okay. So what are you deciding in this moment?
Like if I could, like if I'm deciding if I want to do it or not, or like take that next step.
Um, like, what are you deciding in this moment whether or not you're qualified to do this?
I have a feeling in my chest where I feel like I'm ready, but it's just I still question myself a little bit. But I feel more on the ready side than not being ready.
Okay. So if you were to quantify it, what percentage do you feel like you're ready and you're qualified to pursue this?
I would probably say I'd probably say 75% I'm ready to go, and then the 25% I'm not.
Okay. 75 is a good number.
It is. It's a positive number.
Yeah, absolutely. It's above average.
Yep, it is.
So then, if you were to ask yourself, what's the percentage that you're looking for you to take action, make a plan, and take that next step? What is the number that you're actually looking for?
I've always been a person that has to be 100% ready. I want to make sure, for me personally, how I look at it, and the reason why I've been questioning coaching so much for me personally, doing it myself, is I want to make sure I want to set myself apart. For me personally, I care so much about people, and I know you do too. But there's coaches out there that I've seen because I've been working with different coaches, like business coaches, sales coaches. I've seen the bad side of coaching. I've seen the people that tell a story that aren't isn't actually true, or
Mhm.
there's someone they're not actually. And for me personally, if I was to help other people, I want to make sure that I'm 100% that person that can help them, that I went through the experience, I got through it, and I'm ready to teach and share my experiences. That's why I've always been that person that's 100% because I want to be credible. I want to be a person that actually went through it and actually got through it so I can help other people get through what they're going through. And so 100% is my number.
Okay. Okay. That maybe there's a distinction. So
Yes,
100% because you want to be trustworthy at
right.
100%. You want to be credible
Exactly.
at 100%. You want to show up at 100%. Yes?
1,000%. Yep.
Well, that's the makings of a great coach. But do we need to be at 100% when it comes to being ready?
We don't. No. I don't think so personally. I don't think so. I just for me personally, like I just when I'm there for that person or I'm helping that person, the last thing I want to do, or I just if they're struggling with something that I can't actually help them with, then it feels like that I didn't do my job right, or I'm not credible to help that person. And so then I start questioning myself, like, well, was I actually ready to take this step?
Mm. Okay, okay. I think I think that your heart's in a good place. I think your heart's in a place where you want to serve others and serve them powerfully, serve them honestly and credibly. And I think that that's beautiful. And that's the makings of someone who truly cares and the makings of a great coach because you're placing the needs of your clients, your future clients, above your own needs, right?
100%, 100%.
So I guess I would invite you to think about like what would it take? What is it that you would need to do today to get yourself closer to feeling comfortable in attaining that, feeling 100% sure that you're ready for this? What is an action step that you could take?
I think for me personally, just the challenges that I'm going through, overcoming them, and continuing to do that. Um, I think it's super important to just always keep growing. And for me personally, I just haven't been growing lately. Just I've gotten stagnant, I've gotten complacent. And so right now I'm in a position where I couldn't help anyone because right now I'm not even able to help myself. So just continuing growing. I think that's the challenge I have to overcome is going through that adversity and just keep pushing through it.
Right. And what could help support you?
Gosh, I'm not too sure. It's a good question. That's a good question. I guess structure for me, having a plan laid out for me personally, just having a plan on how can I get through this? How can I keep growing? How can I find that drive and passion again for something that I love to do?
So if you think about when you used to have drive and passion, and it doesn't have to be work related, it could be like in your personal life, in your
Mhm,
relationship, when you had that drive and passion and you felt successful and you felt great about yourself,
mhm.
what were some of the conditions that created that drive and passion?
For me, it was a purpose. I think purpose plays a big role in everybody's passion and drive. For me personally, the reason why I wanted to get into automotive sales is my the biggest why that I had or the because goal I had was my mom. So my mom, like I said, I grew up in a low income family. My mom worked 3 jobs, raising 3 kids by herself. And for me, she was my rock. She was my champion. She was my inspiration and how hard she worked for us. I always wanted to pay that back. And so what originally drove me and what made me burn with desire is I wanted to be successful so that I could give her a life that she won't get because she's just working so hard for us kids. And so when I found out that there was, I was driven by money for the longest time and impact at the same time because I wanted to impact my mom's life. So I knew that I needed to get money to be able to do that. And so when I found out that there was pretty good money in automotive sales, I was like, I'm going to go for it. I want to go for it. I want to give it my all. I want to work my butt off to get into the sales department because I was starting at the bottom. I was washing cars for the dealership at the time. And so that why and that purpose is what drove me every day to show up 100% because I was like, I gotta get to the sales department. I gotta get there as fast as I can because I want my mom to have a good life because I don't know, when her last day is going to be. So I want to make sure that she has a fulfilling and amazing life before she ever goes.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. That's beautiful. We all need a purpose. I think that is
Hmm.
what is our drive and our passion for what it is that we do and why it is that we do it.
Yeah.
So what's changed since then?
For me personally, I think it was that why. Like I still love my mom. I still really care about her.
Mhm.
Um, I was in a position to help her financially, and I took that opportunity. And we kind of briefly talked about it before for a brief moment on our previous call. I took that moment to help her, thinking that it was going to change her life. It was going to help her, and I thought I was going to see change in her financials because she worked hard, but she wasn't always good with her financials. And so I did give her, a decent amount of money, and it was hard to see that nothing changed, and she went right back into the same hole. And
Right.
so I started questioning my why. I'm like, am I going to be able to achieve this success and help my mom and she keep going back in her same hole? Then it wouldn't feel fulfilling anymore. And
Mhm.
so when I kind of started asking myself those questions of like, what if I'm doing all of this for her just to keep going back into the same hole? Like, what am I doing it for? And
Mhm.
so, and then I had a brief time in my life this past year where my why changed because I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what my purpose was. What was I working hard for? And so there was definitely a moment in like a year span where I was like, I didn't know what my purpose was or what my why was.
Right. Yeah. And and it sounds like you have a little bit of a better idea now in terms of what your purpose is and your desire to help other people.
1,000%. It's always been something that's I've wanted to do. Like growing up, I wanted to be a counselor for the longest time. And so I always wanted to help people. Um, I guess I was just a little nervous about student loan debt. And I was like, well, I can't go into debt and help my mom, right? So it's like, I feel like if I go into student loan debt, I'm going the other way. So that's why I kind of did take the college route initially. And so I was like, I feel like I'm going the opposite direction. And so but I always knew I wanted to impact lives. I've always been super passionate about it. I've always wanted to help people.
Yeah. Yeah. And perhaps helping your mom was sort of, that foot in the door of really understanding how it made you feel in terms
Hmm.
of that desire to help and help someone that you love also,
A
and
thousand percent.
so it's great to know that you have this beautiful desire to help impact the lives of people who need impacting, who need helping. Um, so you mentioned that before taking that step, there's a previous step in that you also want to start with helping yourself.
Right.
So can you take me through? some of the things that you've been experiencing yourself, in terms of how you've been feeling and, what it is that you think you need help with.
I think my drive and discipline just I don't know if it's because I'm just not working a job that I'm loving or what it is, but just my drive and my discipline and not listening to my emotions. Because lately I've been listening to them. They've been real loud and I've been I've been giving them a loud voice. And so I want to get my discipline down and my drive back to pursuing goals and setting maybe the right goals as well. I guess maybe I'm not setting good enough goals. So that's kind of where I wanted to improve.
And if you were to improve that, if you were to set the right goals and get your drive and your discipline back, what would that fix?
It was for me, like just like I've been so depressed and anxious about it. So if I got the clarity and I knew what goals I was chasing after and get that drive and did something back, then my depression, my anxiety that I've been experiencing, especially these last few months, will definitely improve a lot. And I'll actually have a goal to strive for because that's when I'm happiest is when I'm chasing something.
Something worthy.
1,000%.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess I would go back to the previous question that I had for you, which would be like, what would help you get there? What do you need from yourself? And what do you need from others?
Set a clear goal on what I want and then how to get there so that I can get that drive and that drive back. I've just always been a person that needs that structure or a plan so that I can start chasing, so I can start feeling happy again. Because when I'm happy, that's when my passion and drive is burning.
Right, right. So then, what are two things that you could do for yourself to help yourself get in a better place? Like, what are two things that would make you feel better to help with your anxiety, with your depression like, and I've told you before, John, like, I am not a therapist. I am not licensed,
Right.
right? And like anxiety, depression, mental health issues,
Hmm.
most people go through them, right? Like most
Right.
people, and seeking professional help has been the best way. Like for me personally, seeking professional help has really helped me overcome a lot of those challenges. And you're absolutely right. Like we can't help others unless we start helping ourselves, right?
Yes.
So I guess my question is, what are some commitments that you can make to you that would help support your mental health, your well-being?
I think number one would be living in the moment. I think my head's always so much in the past and so much in the future. And when my head's in the past, I get depressed. When my head's in the future, I get anxious. So I think living in the present, setting some goals, setting daily goals, I think, having a goal in the back of my mind of where I want to be, and then I'll break it down into daily goals so that I can just live in that moment. I can live for today. I know what to do for today with that goal in the back of my mind that I'm trying to achieve something. And I think number two would be, I think for me personally, I think I overlook the small wins. And I think I need to start stacking them a little more because if I know that I won at something, I feel great. But I think I set too big of goals and I'm trying to strive for them. And then when I don't get there, I kind of beat myself up about it. So I think maybe when I do get a small win, take take the time to congratulate myself or take the moment of like, I did that. I did this today. Like I might not have gotten this, but I did this, this, and this. And so living in the moment and counting the small wins, I think will help me a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right. We tend to overlook the things that are going right because we're too busy thinking about the things that are going wrong.
1,000%, 1,000%. I think I'm a pessimist. I always look at the negatives of things, and so I gotta stop focusing so much on that and start counting the small wins.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I think like in your situation, it sounds like one issue with the goal setting is like perhaps it's a bit too far out. So you
Hmm.
create those like daily milestones on like what it is that you're trying to achieve, I think will certainly help you. And then the other thing is like sometimes we're not very clear, like we don't have very clear goals. So sometimes it's hard to measure if we're even getting closer to them because we haven't really created the, like concrete, tangible parameters around that end goal. So, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, but the two commitments that you've made, I think would definitely help you get more clarity and feel more confident and comfortable with the direction that you're trying to take and being able to kind of show yourself that you are taking those concrete steps closer and closer to your desired outcome.
I agree. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess then follow-up question would be like if you're committing to these two things, how will you keep yourself accountable? Or what does accountability look like for you?
And that's something I've always struggled with is self accountability. But I think maybe just when I do have those goals and I have those daily goals, maybe write them out, kind of do a time block or time management, and make sure that I prioritize like what's really important to me. Like I put some things above others that aren't as important. So I think writing out what is priority and what has to be done. That way it's written out. I see it all day and I know that like, okay, we have to do this. We got to read those 10 pages a day. We have to go work out for an hour a day, um, so that I can get to that longevity goal that I set.
Right. And do you think that by implementing these two things that are these two changes that you're going to make, will that bring you closer to having that drive and having that passion?
I think so. I think so. I gotta get some wins under my belt. It's feel like I haven't won in a long time, and so if I can live in the present, get those daily goals down, and then take whenever I get those small wins and kind of looking at it and be like, you know what, we did accomplish that. Then I think in those wins under my belt will get my confidence, my drive back up.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so then tell me, John, what did you learn about yourself today?
I learned that I might have had the answers, but maybe I just was just too much in my head. I learned that I'm always thinking too much about the future, too much about the past, and that I just need to start living in the moment and getting those daily wins and getting those under my belt and not overthink too many things. Don't set too unexpected expectations of myself or unrealistic expectations of myself. So just living in the moment.
And if you do end up setting unrealistic expectations or things don't go as planned or, things are not working out, what can you do to create compassion for yourself in those moments?
Counting those small wins, I think, just what no matter how much negative it is, try to look at what I was able to accomplish, what I was able to push through.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think we sell ourselves short sometimes because, we're always looking out into the horizon and we're always looking at that gap between where we are and where we want to be. And yet we don't take the time to sort of look back and say, man, look how far I've actually come. This is incredible. This is
Yes, 1,000%, 1,000%.
That's wonderful. So at the beginning of our call, you talked about, you'd really love to walk away with feeling that drive and passion again.
Mhm.
How are you feeling right now?
Now that I have more clarity on what I need to get done and what I need to improve on, it feels a lot better because I just been so lost lately, and haven't had that clarity. And now that I do have the clarity of what to do, again, those small wins and setting daily goals instead of these long goals, it makes me feel a lot better about not overthinking as much. And now that I don't have to overthink, I can actually just set these obtainable goals and get and start chasing.
Yeah, yeah, or attracting.
1,000%, 1,000%.
Oh, it's a bit of both.
Yes,
That's
yes. That,
fun. That's great. Today, is there anything else that you'd like to bring into the conversation?
so I guess my question to you is like just setting goals that are is getting me towards that goal, daily goals of like helping others.
I think I mean, people set goals in different ways. Ultimately, people set goals in ways that work for them, right? Like the
Mhm,
way I view it is like, okay, what are some like personal goals that I have, say for me personally, like if it's related to my habits, if it's related to my health, my fitness, my gym routine, my personal
mhm,
development, what are some things, what are some goals that, I'm setting up because I want to grow and develop as a person and also want to maintain my health, my wellness, my well-being,
mhm.
and because like you mentioned earlier, like we can't help others unless we can first help ourselves. So what are some
Right.
of the things that I need to work on that relate to me? And
Okay.
then I would set other goals that are kind of outside of me and that like, okay, well, here's what I want to do with my career. Here's what I want to do with my profession, my coaching business, like, some goals I want to have, say, for relationships. So it's like they're the goals that are more outward facing, and then there's the goals that are more inward facing, and it's like
Mhm,
it would require me to think about like, what do I want? What do I value? What do I want like next year to look like or next month to look like? And I think for yourself, I think you mentioned like what would really help you is like having that like more of like daily goals of what am I achieving? What am I creating, in
mhm.
each day so that you can accomplish them, which creates, it creates a situation where you feel like you're confident because you're actually meeting your own expectations, right?
Right.
And that develops into momentum and you start getting more disciplined because you've got more drive because you're seeing the wins. I think you're right. Sometimes when we don't see the wins over extended periods of time, we start to kind of lose hope, right? But we also have the agency to set up our life in a way where we can create those small wins.
Mhm.
But we have to be intentional, and it sounds like you're wanting to be super intentional about create breaking down those goals so that you can start stacking your wins. So I
Perfect.
guess I guess I would think like, what are say, the 2 to 5 goals that you would create for yourself, like personally, like,
Mhm.
you want to achieve for yourself. And then what are some of those goals that you can create that get you moving a little bit closer and closer to the direction that you're trying to go professionally?
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay,
I really
great.
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And we can dive into that a little bit more in our next session.
Sounds good. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mary.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Okay, John, thank you for participating in our online coaching series, and we will have another one next week.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, John. Take
Thank
care.
you. Good seeing you. Thank you.